So like we've gone over before, there's a few different ways we can do these problems. I'm going to show you probably I'm going to use the method that I think will give us the least amount of problems. Okay. So for the first one, we have f plus h of 4. Right. So one thing you can do is you can find out what f plus h of x is, right, and combine these two and then plug in 4. But remember that this is equal to f of 4 plus, oops, that's a plus, h of 4, right? So calculate each one of these separately, right? So you don't confuse yourself at first. So f of 4 plus 3 is 7. H of 4 is the square root of 4, which is 2. So f of 4, we said was 7, plus h of 4, which is 2. 7 plus 2 equals 9. Okay, real quick, the other way, if you combine this, right, I mean, these two are separate, so really f plus h of x, the original function, is just going to be x plus 3 plus the square root of x. So this one wasn't too complicated if you wrote it out like that, okay? Again, you plug in 4 plus 3 plus the square root of 4, and again, we get 9. All right, so those are the two ways, but I'm going to stick with this way so it's a little more organized. Okay, any questions about part A? Okay, I'm going to do a similar setup for this, right? So f times g, okay, be careful if you don't see anything, right? That means multiplication of -1. Again, I'm going to just rewrite this, f of -1 times g of -1. That's a little, lamp's hot. Okay, sorry, it's a little glary over there. There we go. Okay, so we do f of -1, right? We plug that into our f function, -1 plus 3, oops, is positive 2. G of -1 is -1 squared minus 2. Be careful. -1 squared is positive 1. Positive 1 minus 2 is -1. Right? So I'm looking at f of 1 times g of 1. So 2 times -1 is -2. Right? And again, if you multiply these, right, you could go as far and, FOIL it, right? So if I had f of x times g of x, I'll just put this up here real quick. I would have x plus 3 times x squared minus 2, right? But again, you could just plug in -1 into here. That would be good enough, and you get, 2 times -1, which would still get us this. You could FOIL, right? You get, x to the third plus minus all that stuff, but that's too much work, right? We're trying to make this as easy and quick and simple as possible. Any questions about B? Okay. C was a little different here because I asked you to plug in an expression. All right. So
Yeah.
let's do.
I left that one like blank because I didn't really understand it that much.
Okay. So let's take a look at this one. We'll do this one in depth. Okay. So I'm going to rewrite this as g of x plus 1 minus h of x plus 1. Move this over a little bit. Okay. So if I do g of x plus 1, all right, this is kind of like our composite function that we did on, Tuesday and late last week. I'm taking x plus 1 and I'm plugging it in to my g function. So this x gets replaced with x plus 1, right? But the g function tells me whatever I plug in, I have to square it. and then subtract 2. All right. Now, because we have something like this, I want to FOIL this, right? So I'm going to have x plus 1 times x plus 1 minus 2. This is going to give me, I'm going to do a shortcut, x squared plus 2x plus 1, and then we have the minus 2. Right, so you combine all that, and you get x squared plus 2x minus 1. Okay, so that was our first part. That was g of x plus 1. Same thing for h now. H of x plus 1. Well, this one's a little more straightforward. I'm just plugging in x plus 1 here. I can't simplify that further. That's done. Okay, so now this is telling me I'm doing g minus h. So my g is x squared plus 2x minus 1. And now, for now, I'm going to put this in parentheses. We really don't need it, but I'm going to do it just to show that this is my g minus my h, which is the square root of x plus 1. Right? And then from here, we would just do any simplification, right? You would distribute the negative if this was a polynomial, right? Make sure the negative goes to everything. But this is straightforward. So we're just going to have x squared plus 2x minus 1 minus the square root of x plus 1. And you can leave it just like this. Okay. If you gave me something like this, minus x square root of x plus 1, I'd give you partial credit, but it's not in the proper form. Okay, any questions about that one? All right, so our last one is a composite function, but we're going to composite it twice instead of just the one time. All right, so we're going to use our chain rule, our our input-output thing, but we're going to do it twice. So remember, we look at the inside first. So I'm going to calculate what is h of 1. If I go to my h function, I plug in 1, the square root of 1. Well, that's 1. So that's pretty simple. So since h of 1 is 1, I'm going to replace this with its answer. So I'm going to rewrite this as f of g of 1. Okay, so all I did here was I replaced h of 1 with its actual value, 1, there. So again, we work with the inside. So I'm going to look at g of 1. So g of 1, that's going to be 1 squared minus 2. So that gives me negative 1 now. So g of 1 is negative 1. So I'm going to substitute that in. And now I want to calculate f of negative 1. Right? And now this is our last step. There's nothing else on the outside. So f of negative 1, go up here. We have negative 1 plus 3, and that is 2. All right, so it doesn't matter if you have 20, right? You're just doing the same steps. You're working with the inside function, right? Wherever the number is, you get that answer, you plug it into the next one. You get that answer, you plug it into the next one. All right, so there your final answer is 2. All right, any questions? All right, so I don't think we really had homework practice with this. So tonight you're gonna have some homework with it's a little bit of both. All right, I'm gonna give you 3 functions, and then you just have to do some of these either combinations with multiplication or adding or subtracting, and then maybe 1 or 2 with composite. I'll just give you basic composite one, and then maybe an extra credit one that's a little more difficult like this. All right. So make sure you check Google Classroom for homework. question?
No,
Comment,
that was
concern?
pretty good.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, guys, and then we'll go over the homework tomorrow, and then we'll start our new topic on Monday.
So that's it. Okay.
Yep, we're done for today.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you, guys. Have a nice day.
Bye.
Bye.